Hello students! It seems everyone are here now. So, welcome to Museo de Poblacion here at Casa Real. So, we are glad that Museo de Poblacion are in your list for your field trip. So, by the way, I am Christine Love Eslamante, your educator tour guide for today. Before we enter to the museo, I want to remind you that all you've seen is for your eyes only. But you can take pictures or videos while you're listening or walking. So, eating or drinking inside the museum are prohibited. Okay? Understand? So, that is a quick reminder before we start our mini tour. Okay, class, for our first spot, as you can see the different picture of Black Mountain College. So where the Black Mountain Poetry Movement was started. So it was associated with the Black Mountain College located in Black Mountain, North Carolina. So the college lasted from 1933 to 1956. So it's kind of coined as the idea of an experiment in art. So the school was started by John Andrews Rice, who left Rollins due to the giant argument and over the curriculum at the school. Rice felt that teaching art was just essential to education as teaching history, math, science, or literature. So it started a school with the idea of emphasis on art. As a result, many artists came to this school which would create the movement. And it's the idea that poetry should not be so focused on meter or rhythm, but instead the composition should only have meter from the natural breath of a person takes from the poetry was supposed to be kind of looser form of poetry. And that is for the history of Black Mountain College and movements. So I hope class you have a learnings, and for now, let us proceed to the famous authors and poets from Black Mountain movements. Let's go. Here we are in our next spot where you found the different authors or poets from Black Mountain College. So first in our spot is Charles Olson, or his full name is Charles John Olson. So he was born on December 27, 1910 at United States, and he was died at January 10, 1970 at New York. He was taught at Clark University in his native for 2 years. So Charles was the main advocate of this poetry movement, and kind of fond of it, he stressed the idea of looser form of poetry, and he felt that usages of metaphor and similes was a lazy. His magnum opus and statement to his projective poetics was Maximus Poems. It is divided into 3 volumes meant to be read as long as single poems. The collection includes the Maximus to himself and Maximus to Gloucester. A series of poems to the town were printed in the local newspaper. So the most frequently anthologized pieces are the opening pages, a selection of the letter of Gloucester and Coles Island, a poem from the last volume that describes his encounter with death. Our next poet is Robert Creeley. So he was born in Arlington at 1926 and he was died on March 30, 2005 at Odessa, Texas, United States. Creeley entered the Harvard College in 1943. He left Harvard to serve in America field service in 1944 and 1945. In the 1950s, Creeley was associated with the Black Mountain Poets, a group of writers including Denise Levertov, Ed Dorn, Fielding Dodson, and others who had some connection with Black Mountain College. So it is an experimental communal college in North Carolina that was a heaven for many innovative writers and artists. One of his literary works that entitled For Love. So in the poem For Love by Robert Creeley, the story is told by Robert Creeley. That is also tell us that the story in the first person point of view, the central conflict is Robert Creeley versus himself because he is struggling his love internally. Robert Creeley also uses personification and paradox to get his point. Our last author is Denise Levertov, was born in Elford, England on October 24, 1923. So Denise Levertov created a highly regarded body of poetic that reflected her belief as an artist and humanist. Her work embraced a wide variety of genres and themes. One of the famous poetry of Denise Levertov is The Mute. So, this poetry reflects her varied passions in nature, art, religion, and political efforts. In her poem The Mute in 1967, Levertov uses her skill in language and imagery to detail women's experience with street harassment and catcalling. The poem uses a variety of poetic skills to set the stage and reflect. And that is for the history, authors, and literary from Black Mountain College. So, I hope you learned something today for this mini tour. So, thank you for visiting Museo de Poblacion here in Casa Real. So, again, this is Christine Love Eslamonte, your educator tour guide. Thank you.